All right. So good morning, everybody. Happy Sunday, happy day before Valentine's Day, happy day of lovely snowy weather. My thought for you today is a little bit on Krishna. Krishna is the character who, in yoga, there's this term, in Bhakti yoga, there's this kind of phrasing or term that we use a lot, or that is used a lot, and it's referring to the lover and the beloved. Right. And so in story form, this can mean two characters, right, that represent the masculine, feminine kind of dynamic in the universe. So not people so much as universal energies. And it can mean that coming together in story form. But what it's also meant to imply for us is that that same sort of love, and we know this if we've ever watched like a great love story, is that, you know, a part of our heart kind of melts at it, right? And we feel like we have some sort of like experience with that, just observing it. The idea is with this concept of the lover and the beloved is to realize that both of those personalities, if you're going to call them that, are you, right? Is that relationship of what there exists between the lover and the beloved is our relationship between how we think of ourselves in the limited form and our universal self, right? This is your little bit of a Valentine's Day dharma on what it means to have that expression of love. Right? Not always outward towards somebody else, because that's where we can get stuck with this idea of the lover and the beloved is, well, what am I supposed to be giving away to someone else, hoping to get something in return? And the relationship in this sense is not about what you're giving so much as it is how much you are in that flow of love that can go in all directions. Right? So you're not even thinking that it's got to go to this person, and from that person, it must come back to me. Is you're actually just feeling what it is to be in that loving presence, right? That melting of the heart that you feel when you see or hear or experience a loving moment, a love story. If that can just spread wide from you in every direction and you let it go to whoever it's going to go to, it will come back to you from all directions, right? So this idea of the lover and the beloved is that there is this divine, and when we say divine, it really just means this kind of perfect form, never changing form of love that is all around us, right? That's within us already. And when we tap into that, then we start to have less of this feeling of being driven by being afraid of being alone, of not knowing how to take care of ourselves, of always being in that outward expression of what am I supposed to do to get the world to like me, to get the world to accept me, to get the world to need me. So this is the practice of that kind of bhakti experience, is to start to feel yourself as the lover, whoever your beloved is, right? There's that longing, or there's that extension of saying, wherever my heart can hold a bigness for that, I hold a bigness for that. But that you are also the beloved, that love is automatically already flowing towards you. And you don't need to know the source. That's the thing, is it can be your bhakti image if this is how you operate. It can be your image of God that is always flowing that energy to you. Or it can just be the knowledge that that loving presence, it doesn't go one way. It goes always. So if the heart is open to receive it, then that loving presence, that flow of love is always there. And that's what we practice to remind ourselves of. And we use things like the bhakti image of the lover and the beloved to give ourselves a way to connect to that feeling. So it doesn't matter what your target is or what you use as your way to inspire that. If you can connect to the feeling becomes universal, all pervasive. So that's what we're practicing for, right? Is to have that sense that our heart is always in that melting moment, right? Instead of it getting hard around what life gives us, it's always in that melting moment. So for a moment, one moment, find your seat, let your eyes close. And just bring the awareness down to the heart center, so out of your mind and down a little deeper inside. And just let yourself bring to mind a inspiration for that feeling. It can be a person. If your best version of this kind of unconditional loving presence is your dog or your cat, use that. If your best interpretation of this is just a beautiful day where you're in the sun or staring at the sky, use that. The details don't matter. But you're connecting to this feeling of there being that unconditioned melting of your heart, where you don't have to struggle to feel like in that moment, in that presence, I can feel that flow of love. So don't judge what comes into your mind that works with that. Just hold on to it. And again, the details are not the point. The point is to breathe in that feeling. And if that feeling comes with a little bit of that feeling of longing, along with it, there's that little kind of spicy tang in the emotion, right? It's not always soft and easy. Sometimes it feels like there's a little, ugh, when we love deeply. Breathe into that too. To just hold that and then feel as though that feeling rising from the heart center on your exhale, it moves with your breath out into the world. And then on your inhale, that same energy coming from who knows where flows in and all the way down to your heart center. And then the exhale, you flow that same energy from you out into the world. And again, if you have that vision of a person or a being and you are flowing it specifically to that being, great. Or you can just let it flow where it flows, but stay connected to that feeling of loving presence, the tenderness, the melting heart. And if melting heart seems like it's almost on that edge of breaking heart, great. But keep breathing it from your own heart center, it generates. As I always say with any practice, if this feels like it is challenging, difficult to do, your mind can't quite grasp it or it's moving away from it, try to do it every day. And as you practice today, let there be this feeling that every movement that you take, every breath that you take is this energy flowing. Even when your mind is not thinking about it, it's this energy flowing, not from the mind space, from the heart space. So you are never without this loving connection. On your next exhale, you can release the visualization if you are using one. Bring the hands together in front of the heart center, palm to palm. Let your palms rub fast. Wake up your hands. I always think it's very sweet when teachers say that our hands are an extension of our heart. Good, and then steady the palms or steady the hands at the heart center, thumbs touching the sternum, lift the sternum up into the thumbs. And we'll open sound of Om, deep breath in. And let the eyes float open. Nice, you guys. You can release your hands, please. And then find your way onto your hands and knees. So come forward. Good. Then on your hands and knees, start to circle your hips, please. Rotate the pelvis, rotate the shoulders. You are the lover and the beloved. And there is no requirements involved for you to be both, except for you to realize it, recognize it. But most of us get into this challenge through our minds and through, those outward dynamics of thinking that there is this exchange that has to occur. If I am not this way, then I'm not going to get what I want, what I hope. Move your hips the other direction, please. So I was thinking to myself, because my other thought today was to teach on the concept of self-care. And what's occurred to me is that often what we interpret as self-care is just little pockets of, well, invite yourself to have a little bit of pleasure where you would normally deny yourself. That's not really self-care. to do something radical that fits into that category of what really is going to give you space in yourself. That's really going to make you feel like your needs, your deepest needs, are recognized. Sometimes that means telling people to go away. Or sometimes that means telling yourself, I need to go away, right? Come back to stillness, please. And stretch your right arm out wide to the right and slide that arm underneath the left or behind the left wrist. Right shoulder finds the floor. Turn your gaze to the left. Then walk that left arm forward in front of you any amount, threading the needle. Good. Press into your shins here. And if you have let your hips fall back towards your heels, scoot everything forward so that you have more space on your side body. Good. And then really press down through the shins into the feet. Good. Nice, you guys. And then if you'd like, you can extend that left leg back behind you, give it a little bit longer length. Good. Toes tucked on the floor or lift the leg up. Some people really like that. Some people like stepping it out wide to the side. If that's what makes you excited, go for that. Good. Nice, you guys. One more breath. Keep your hips in line with your knees. That's my only requirement. Good. And then slowly release, bringing that leg back down to the floor. Unwind your shoulders back up onto hands and knees. Good. And then stretch the left arm out wide to the left. Take that arm behind the right wrist. Left shoulder finds the floor. Turn your gaze to the right and then walk the right arm forward in front of you. Again, any amount. Arm does not have to be straight. Good. The idea is that you are working that twist through the ribs, through the side waist. And if you don't give yourself as much space as possible, that twist doesn't really have a chance to happen. So press into your shins. Keep the legs really engaged. Good. Make sure your hips have not fallen back towards your heels. Nice. And then again, if you want to stretch that left leg back behind you, sorry, right leg back behind you. It should be the right leg. Then go for it. And again, lifting the leg up or taking the leg out to the side, all great options. And the point is for you to just breathe a little bit longer through your side body, all the way down into the side waist, edge of the pelvis. Good. So make sure you are still drawing your weight back through your lower body. Nice, Mark. Good. And then slowly take that leg back down to the floor, unwind your shoulders, come back up onto hands and knees. Nice. And then plant the hands, spread your fingers wide, tuck your toes and come into downward facing dog, lift the hips. Good. Pedal your feet just a little bit if you'd like. Awesome. And then slowly walk your feet forward towards your hands, coming to the top of your mat. Good. Feet underneath the hips, baby toe edges of the feet paralleling the outer edges of your mat. Good. Bend your knees a lot. Drop your seat nice and low. Hands stay on the floor or block. So it's like your butt is in chair, but you have your hands touching something. So make sure you have something under your hands. Good. So your butt is moving backwards. Knees stay in line with your ankles. Butt is behind your heels. And then keeping your hands where they are, start to scoop into your low belly. Good. Feel your shins hugging, but your inner thighs, your butt cheeks widening. There you go. That was it, Carolyn. And then take your butt high to the sky. Start to straighten your legs, pressing down into your heels. Good. Keeping the hands touching the floor or block, slide your right leg up and back behind you into standing split. Good. Nice, you guys. Bend both knees. So keep that right leg lifted, but bend the knee, kick it in towards your butt, and then bend your standing knee as well. Move your hips slightly back in space. So you're really finding your weight on that left heel. Good. Scoop into the low belly again. And then keeping your hands where they are, lift your chest just a tiny bit more and then straighten both legs at the same time, pressing out through the heels. Yeah, not letting that right hip fly open. Good. Bend both knees again. One more time. Bend them deep. So you feel your weight dropping into that left heel. Move your hips slightly back. Good. Scoop into your low belly, lift your chest, and then extend both legs. Press out through the heels. Really nice. Good. Release that right foot to the floor alongside the left, standing forward fold. Good. Take your right hand to reach for your outer left ankle or shin. Take your left arm up to the sky. Twist. You got it, Carla. Nice. Good, Lynn. Good, Elisa. Just watch that left shoulder doesn't fall in. Maybe take your left hand to your lower back instead so that you can really lift the shoulder. Good. Nice, you guys. Release back to center, please. And then switch the hands. Take the left hand to the outer right ankle or shin. Take the right arm up to the sky. Watching that your hips, again, are not swinging out to the side. Try and keep them really level. Good. Middle of your stance, middle of your mat. Beautiful. Excellent, you guys. Good. Then release that hand back down to the floor, please. Bring your hands back to your blocks. Good. Take the left leg up and back behind you into that standing split position. Should be the second side. If it's not, tell me now. Good. And then bend both knees again. As you bend both knees, take the weight of your hips slightly back onto that standing heel. Good. Scoop into your low belly. Again, lift your chest a little higher here. That's it, Ann. And then straighten both legs with your chest lifted. Extend out through your heels, but then pull through your heart center too. Good. And then bend both knees again, one more time, moving the weight of your hips back on top of that right heel. This is what helps really wake up the hips. Good. Scoop the belly, lift your chest, extend both legs out nice and long. Nice, Valerie. Good. And then release that left foot down to the floor, please. Nice job. Separate both feet as wide as your mat. Turn your toes out. 45 degrees, both feet. Start to come down to squat. If it's still a little early for a full squat for you, place a block underneath your butt or use blankets underneath your heels. Good. Nice, you guys. Find your breath. So you're pressing into your feet. And as your elbows, if you have your hands at your heart center and your elbows are pushing into your knees, as you push your elbows wide to keep your chest open, squeeze your knees in towards your elbows. Starts to give you a feeling of power in the legs instead of that feeling of I'm so tight that I just feel nothing or all I feel is tightness, right? And this is what engagement is. When we engage with a feeling, it gives us a sense of empowerment and not that sense of I'm overwhelmed by a movement of energy that I do not understand. So how do we learn to love? We have to engage with our best interpretation of what that unconditioned state of love is. Release the hands to the floor, straighten the legs, please. Turn the toes forward. And I say our best opportunity or our best representation because it's totally okay if we don't know how to feel unconditional love. Take your hands to your hips, slowly come all the way up to stand. It's okay if your mind doesn't know how to grasp that right away. We start with what we have experienced, and then we let that grow and expand by engaging with it. Hug your right knee up in towards your chest, please. Yep, squeeze it in. If you want a block on the outside of your left foot here, this is kind of nice. We're coming into eagle pose. So if you want that block on the outside baby toe edge of your left foot, you can place it there. Cross the right thigh on top of the left, wrapping the legs. Good, taking the outer shins together. And then bend your left knee a lot. Again, butt moves back in space. Good. Stretch your arms out wide. Left arm comes in front or on top of your right in front of your chest. So left arm is on top. Good. Press the forearms together. And then before you go into that desire to just lean forward, really scoop into your belly, try and drop your tail and lift your chest up. Extend your spine. And again, your right foot might be touching down to the block if you're using that. Nice, Carla. Good, Sarah. Good, you guys, bring your elbows forward towards your knees, round into your back on purpose. Good. Say on purpose because that way we know that we're, again, engaging somewhere. And then slowly unwind, come back to vertical, and then start to unwind the arms and the legs. Good. Plant the feet. Inhale, both arms up to the sky. Good. Right hand holds your left wrist. Lean to your right. So get nice and long, lean to the right. Good. Press through that left heel. Excellent. And then you're still leaning, but I want you to look towards that upper right-hand corner of your mat and send your hands in that direction as though you're doing like a dolphin dive towards that upper right-hand corner. So go on that diagonal, round into your back ribs, pull into your belly, keep the tops of the thighs moving back. Good. And now in that sort of curled position, start to look up underneath that left armpit again, stack the left rib cage open a little more, but stay as full as you can in your rib cage. And then pull all the way back up to center. Really good, you guys. And then switch the hands, please. Left hand holds right wrist. Lean to your left. Excellent. So you just find that length on the side body, press down through the right heel. Good. And then take the attention towards that upper left-hand corner, change the angle. So you're now going on the diagonal, curling into your back rib cage. Good. Get really rounded in your back. So your tail is dropping, tops of the thighs move back. Good. And then still in that nice rounded position, start to stack the right armpit open a little more. Keep the tops of the thighs moving back. Nice. And then pull all the way back up to center. Really nice, Meredith. Good. Release your hands, please. Excellent. And then bring your left knee up and towards your chest. If you're using that block for eagle, place it to the outside of your right baby toe. Left knee comes up and towards your chest. Begin to wrap the legs, taking the left thigh on top of the right. Outer shins come together. And my suggestion for most people is that even if you can double wrap and have your foot wrapped around your ankle, is don't do it. Because as soon as you do it, I guarantee you stop engaging your legs and your knees start to torque. So try not to do it. And then bend that right knee a lot. Take your butt back, arms out wide. Take the right arm on top of the left this time in front of the chest. Good. And really focus on that pressing of the shins together and widening your inner thighs even here. You're like, how do I widen my thighs when they are touching each other? It's the action, right? Same thing as love. How am I supposed to feel love when this, that, and the other thing is going on? It's the feeling, the action is there. Good. Looks how it looks. Bring your elbows down towards your knees, curl in and round. Nice, Kristen. Good, Rachel. Excellent, you guys. And then as you come out of the pose, come back to that vertical position before you let it go completely. Nice. And then slowly unwind. Really good. Excellent, you guys. Inhale the arms up to the sky. And then exhale, bow forward. Good. Plant the hands, please. Step or jump your feet back to plank, depending on how spicy you feel this morning. Good. Nice, Alana. And lower down slow, coming all the way down to your belly. You can come through knees first if you need. Pull forward into Cobra Pose, dragging back on the hands. Lift up head, neck, and chest. Nice. And then exhale, release, press up onto hands and knees and come back to Child's Pose. Knees nice and wide. I know that was a lot that we just did. I'm not unaware. I started today saying it was a Krishna day, and you may have noticed that I haven't mentioned his name once since. Krishna is one of those classic characters that is often described as being in that relationship of the divine lover and the beloved, where you cannot tell which one is which because they are always in this association of just loving each other so completely. And that's the thing, is that if we can become the lover, then we also automatically become the beloved. We can allow love to flow through us with no obstruction. We automatically receive love with no obstruction. But it's finding that in the midst of a world that doesn't always look like that's what it's giving us. And those are the stories of Krishna as a child, especially as he would go around trying to teach everyone who he was with that nature of joy that exists within life, even when tragedy is happening. Walk your hands over to the right, please, belly over the right thigh. And the stories are funny because in them, it's like everybody has these awakening moments where they realize what he's trying to get them to understand. And then 2 minutes later, they're like, no, that didn't happen. They forget again. So Krishna laughs and says, all right, I'll remind you again. Come back to center, walk to the left. And Krishna is the character, as they say, is the one who dances, encourages us to dance with the energies of life and to treat all of them as an experience, part of joy, not separate from. His greatest game, they say, is he plays hide and seek. Come on back to center. And some of you know this story, so you know the answer already, but guess where he says the best place to hide is, where no one can ever find him. Just think about it. Walk yourself back up onto hands and knees. Maybe I'll tell you. Downward facing dog. Yep, down dog. Good, take the right leg up and back behind you, down dog split. Bend the knee, kick your heel in towards your butt, stack the right hip on top of the left, open. Nice, keep that left heel squeezing in towards the midline of your mat so you're not letting everything fall open. Press through that right heel of your hand, lift your left armpit. Good. And now with the hips still stacked open, stretch that right leg to straight. So press out through the heel, curl up through your low belly. Good, and then scoop your belly, turn those right toes down towards the floor, down dog split. Nice. And then look forward towards your fingertips. Bring that right knee forward towards your nose, armpits over your wrist. So squeeze everything forward and up, that one-legged plank. Good. Don't let your heel fall in. Push it slightly wide. Nice. Now look forward so you don't bonk yourself in the face. Step your right foot between your hands. Good. Left foot steps a little wider to the left to drop your heel to 45 degrees. Inhale, both arms up to warrior one. Nice, you guys. Feel the baby toe of the back foot. Good. Really letting that left inner thigh rotate in. So for a moment, straighten your front leg and then let that left hip and left inner thigh rotate forward and in. Yeah. And then press through the baby toe edge of that back foot again without letting the hip go wide. That's it. Now maintain that with your back leg and start to bend the right knee again. Come back into warrior one. Good. Arms overhead, cross the right wrist in front of your left. Turn the hands, the palms to face each other. So you're pushing the hands into each other and then bend your elbows wide. And as your elbows bend wide, you draw the shoulders down the back as you lift your chest up. Lengthen through the back of your throat, press up through the top of your head. Nice. And then draw those hands back in space any amount towards the top of your head. Nice, Lisa. Good, Ralph. Nice, Marjorie. Good. Now unwind the arms. Just reach both arms straight up alongside your ears. Deep breath. Good. And then hands come back behind you. Interlace your fingers. Inhale again. If you forgot to exhale, make sure you do that first. And then bow forward inside the front thigh. Take the arms up and over. Good. Keep that left hip spinning forward. That's it. Nice, you guys. Good. Arms still in this position. Inhale yourself back up to halfway. Reset the shoulders. Lift through the lower rib cage so you get more full. Don't drop the belly. Pull it up. And then bow again, dropping the head, stretching the arms up and over. Yeah. Nice, you guys. Release the hands all the way down to the floor, please. Spin your back heel up. Good. Left hand plants right arm to the sky, spinal twist. Yeah, let yourself fall a little bit more onto that left hand. Good. Bend the right elbow, dragging it in towards your side ribs, almost like a cactus arm, and then lift and open that right side chest a little more. Nice, you guys. Nice, Harriet. Nice, Beth. Good. Extend that arm all the way out over the ear now. Reach. Last breath. And then release that hand down to the floor, please. Step back, downward facing dog. Good. And then vinyasa, if you choose, child's pose if you prefer. If you're doing the vinyasa, sliding forward to plank, lowering down either to your belly or stopping in chaturanga, coming forward to cobra or upward facing dog, again, depending on how inspired your heart is today. Let me rephrase that differently, depending on how excited your shoulders are to do that today, because you can have a very inspired heart and shoulders that say, no way, Jose. Downward facing dog. Good, you guys. Left leg comes up and back behind you, down dog split. Bend the knee, kick your heel in towards your butt, stack the left hip on top of the right. Good. Keep pressing through that right hand, press through the left hand. Keep that right armpit lifted. Nice. And then the hip is still stacked. Extend that left leg to straight. So press out through the heel, but pull the top of the thigh bone up and in. Good. Squeeze that right heel in towards the midline. You got it. And then turn your toes down towards the floor, lifting through your lower belly as you do that. Excellent. And then knee comes forward towards your nose, armpits over your wrist, squeeze in and up. Good. And then look forward between the fingertips, step your left foot between the hands, nice and gentle. Good. And then right foot steps wider to the right, drop the heel to 45 degrees, warrior one. Virabhadrasana. Good. As you set yourself up, straighten the left leg for a breath so that you can really send that outer right hip spinning forward. And if that feels like it's impossible to do, step your right foot wider. Don't complain about it. Just give your hips what they need, right? Radical self-care. Give yourself what you actually need. Good. And then as that hip spins forward, baby toe roots to the floor, bend the left knee again, come back to warrior one, arms alongside the ears. Good. And then left wrist crosses in front of right this time. Turn the palms to face each other. So you're pushing the hands together. Bend the elbows wide as you lift your chest up. So there's this dropping through the pelvis. So you have this anchoring down into the legs, drawing up through the lower belly, through the side waist. And then again, rooting wide with the tops of your shoulders. So the upper back again engages. Good. And then draw those hands back any amount towards the top of your head. Nice, Anju. Excellent, you guys. And then release the hands, stretch the arms up alongside your ears. So pull longer into your pose. Good. And then reach the hands back behind you, interlace the fingers, full deep breath in. And then as you exhale, bow inside the front thigh, taking the arms up and over any amount, keeping your right hip spinning forward, left hip drawing in. This is where we get actual real hip engagement and stretch in this pose. Nice, Laura. Nice, Gunther. Excellent. Inhale up halfway. So torso parallels the floor. Draw your ribs and belly in, reset your shoulders, and then bow forward again, dropping the head, taking the arms up and over. Nice, you guys. Release the hands all the way down to the floor. Nice job. Spin your right heel up. Good. Right hand plants. Take the left arm to the sky. Spinal twist. Good. Let yourself lean onto that right hand just a tiny bit more so your chest opens a little more. And then bend that left elbow in towards your side ribs. Again, almost like a cactus arm, but drag it down. And again, lift your chest open and throat back. Nice, Maral. Good, Melody. Excellent. Stretch that left arm all the way over the ear on the diagonal. Open your ribs. Yes. And then release that hand all the way down to the floor. Good. Step yourself back, downward facing dog. Deep breath in. And as you exhale, drop the knees to the floor, child's pose. The lover and the beloved, we too easily get into this thought that if I'm not enough of this or if I'm too much of that, then that love doesn't come to me. It's not for me. And then ridiculously, because this is how the external world works, is we draw to ourselves people who mirror that for us. So we have plenty of examples that say, you're right. You're exactly right. And so the joke is that when we practice that unconditional friendliness, unconditional love, we practice being the lover and the beloved, being in that relationship with us, maybe with another form, but with us. Then that mirroring starts to change. All of those people might not disappear from your life, but others that mirror a different experience will arrive. We might have that moment of awakening where the person who always has the ability to cut us down takes a swipe at us and we say, oh, it doesn't hurt the way that it used to. So Krishna's great trick, he plays hide and seek with the milkmaids, the gopis. He says the one place, he tells his favorite, Radha, he tells her, his greatest devotee, he says the one place where they will never find me, where no one ever looks, is in their own hearts. They're so busy looking for him outside, trying to give everything they have outside. They never even notice that I'm always right there. They don't have to go anywhere, do anything, be anything. I'm already loving them. And our mind has trouble comprehending that, which is why we give it something to do. Practice imagining, connecting with that feeling. Walk yourself back up onto hands and knees. Come back downward facing dog. Good. Take the right leg up and back behind you, down dog split. Bring that knee forward and wide for pigeon. Knee goes towards the outer edge of your right wrist. Let the shin cross at whatever angle makes the most sense for you to be able to maintain left hip spinning forward. So it's the same basic leg position as warrior one. Your front leg is just folded differently. So turn that left hip forward. Yeah, send that inner thigh up. Good. Press into your front shin to keep that leg awake, and then go ahead and walk your hands forward when you feel that you've set yourself up well. And of course, if you're doing pigeon on your back, right ankle over left thigh, making sure that your hips are level with each other. That's a tricky one when you're doing pigeon on your back. So make sure that you have equal weight on both sides of your sacrum. Usually that means the left side in this case would have to root down a little more. Good. Nice, Kristen. Good, Anju. Nice, Sarah. Krishna, the one that dances and calls out to your heart. It is cute in the stories because Krishna, of course, he's in human form, but he is born knowing that he is God, that he's God incarnate. So he can do all these things because his consciousness is always in that divine space, the space that understands or knows the completeness of everything. And that's an important one, right? When we say divine, it doesn't mean higher than and better than what we are as human beings. It just means a state where there is no separation. Full truth is revealed at all times, which would probably make your human brain go nuts. So don't wish for that necessarily. But let go of the thought that when we say divine or when we say big and unconditioned, that that's somehow beyond you. But when he dances with the milkmaids, they say that he multiplies himself so that there is a perfect Krishna for each one of them, exactly what they want, fulfills exactly their needs, their desires, exactly what is the perfect mirror of love for them. And this is the nature of that divine energy, is that it is the perfect reflection for you at all times. Our challenge is that most of us have trouble opening our eyes and looking into that mirror. And that's why we practice their best approximation. Where do I feel love in myself already? Reach for that. And through that, I can get to maybe that experience of the lover and the beloved. Take your last breath on this side. Good. Walk your hands all the way back in underneath your shoulders. If you're on your back, start to roll yourself over so you can come into Anjanayasana on with the right leg forward. So flip yourself over. Good. Plant your hands. Please tuck your back toes, lift the back knee, and then scoop into your belly. Step that right foot between the hands, Anjanayasana. So right foot steps forward, and then drop the left knee down to the floor. So low lunge, right knee or right foot forward. Good. Use a blanket underneath the knee if you need. Good. Inhale the arms up to the sky, alongside your ears. Good. Pressing down through that left heel. Nice, you guys. Bring the hands together at the heart center. Come into prayer twist. Left elbow hooks to the outside of the right knee. Good. Drawing the arms up and back. So even here, you're softening the ribs in, and you're connecting the ribs to the back body. And then you're stacking the right rib cage open a little more as you press your inner right butt cheek wide. So usually we say the knee, but I want you to press from your butt cheek, from your sacrum, push wide. Nice, Carla. Good. Nice, Allison. Excellent. Come all the way back to center. Inhale the arms up to the sky. Good. And then exhale, hands down to the floor, please. Good. Move your hip back on top of that right knee. Sorry, left knee. Extend your right leg to straight. Ardha Hanumanasana. Come up on your front heel. Good. Then walk both hands inside your front foot. Walk your hands just a little bit towards that upper left-hand corner so you can turn your right toes in a lot. So your toes turn in, your inner thigh turns in, your right butt cheek goes really, really wide. You got it. Nice, Lana. Good, Lisa. Good, Carolyn. Good. And then scoop into your belly here, you guys. Try to keep this wideness of your thigh, but start to draw the hip crease back and in. So you're bringing your pelvis back to square, bringing your toes back up, but you're pushing your inner thighs wide the whole time. Good. So you're scooping in, but not collapsing that right butt cheek. Excellent. And then walk your hands back to frame the front foot. I know, something different. Good. And then walk your hands back in, please. Bring that right heel back in for that low lunge, moving your knee forward. Good. Lift the back knee up. Come back to downward facing dog. Good. Vinyasa if you'd like, or we're setting up for pigeon on the other side. So if you want to come straight there, take a breath in dog. So when you've completed your vinyasa, left leg will come up and back behind you, and then bring that left knee forward and wide, pigeon pose. Nice, Valerie. Good. And again, before you bring your torso forward, set that right hip so that it spins forward, so that your pelvic bones are really in line with each other. Good. Don't worry about the angle of your shin. Get your pelvic bones to be happy with each other, and your shin will be exactly where it's supposed to be. So Lisa, I would bring that right hip forward even more. More. There you go. Yep. Yeah. And then don't roll back onto the left butt cheek. You got to stay up there. Good. And then once you've set yourself, come on forward onto your forearms or blocks, whatever you're using. Keep your front shin pushing into the floor. Good. And again, if you're on your back, left ankle is over right thigh. And pay attention that you are rooting down through your lower back, through your sacrum, if you are in that pigeon pose on your back. Right side sacrum has to root down, usually a little bit firmer for the pelvis to stay level. What is interestingly sweet about Krishna's story is that usually he is paired with, what the stories of him that are told the most is he's paired with Radha. She's one of the milkmaids in the village that he grows up in. And you could say they're like childhood sweethearts, is that she's always chasing him through town, and everyone's always chasing him, but she especially is always chasing him. And then, of course, when he grows up, you know, he was only in that village to basically hide from evil relatives. So he grows up and he was always intended to take over, you know, a kingdom. So he leaves. And you're like, oh, but he takes her with him, right? No, she stays because that's where her life is. So she lives in that village. She marries someone else. She has her family, her life, and he has his away. They don't see each other anymore. But they say that the bond that they have, that loving presence, doesn't change at all. Even to the point where when Krishna leaves, they say the milkmaids go insane because they can't find him and it's making them nuts. It's like the joy has left their life. And so they start walking around, and it's Radha, you know, the first one who starts calling everything Krishna. Talks to the cows and calls them Krishna. Talks to the food, calls it Krishna. Calls everything Krishna, and they think that she's gone nuts. So much so that the king of that area hears about this, that all the milkmaids have started going insane, calling everything Krishna. Sends someone, an advisor, to go see what's going on. And talks to them and says, you know, these things are not Krishna, right? She says, what are you talking about? She says, Krishna is everything. That loving presence, I am never not seeing him in my mind, in my heart. So of course, all of these things are Krishna. You're the one who's confused. And he walks away from that conversation saying, yeah, she's right. She's fine. So enmeshed in that feeling of love that she sees nothing else. Take one more breath. Walk yourself back up onto your hands. Good. If you're on your back, start to flip over onto your front so you can step the left foot forward into Anjanayasana. Lift the back knee, please. Scoop into your belly. Everybody, left foot comes forward between the hands. Good. Nice. Drop the back knee to the floor, again, using a blanket if you'd like. Inhale the arms up to the sky, Anjanayasana. Good. Pressing through the front heel. Stay just as excited about this pose as you were for the first couple when you weren't tired. Bring your hands to your heart center. Good. Prayer twist, right elbow hooks to the outside of the left knee. Nice. And again, as you press your hands together, yeah, you're drawing the arms up into the shoulders, stacking the left rib cage on top of the right. Really nice, Harriet. Good, Laura. But then also press your left inner thigh, your left butt cheek wide. So again, that's going to help wake up the whole outer thigh and hip, and then push the right hip wide as well. Nice, Kunter. Beautiful melody. Nice, Maral. Good. Come back to center. Inhale the arms up to the sky. Get super tall through your waist. Again, give it your all. Yeah. And then release the hands down to the floor. Excellent. Move your right hip back in line with your right knee. Straighten the left leg. Come up on the heel. Ardha Hanumanasana. Good. And again, don't let your hips fall down to your heels. You want to keep your hips up. just in line with the knee. So Valerie, I would scoot your left leg forward more so you can stay upright. And then take both hands to the inside of the front foot. Walk towards that upper right-hand corner a little bit so that you can turn your left toes, rotate the whole left leg inward. Good. And as it's rotating in, you're pulling the inner thigh and the butt cheek wide. So it's not just that you're turning in, but you're pulling wide at the same time. Good. And then scoop into your low belly here. And now you're going to start to bring that left thigh crease all the way up at the top, back and wide towards the back of your mat. That's going to help bring your toes up towards the ceiling, but keep pressing your inner thighs wide. So you never lose that feeling of decompressing your sacrum. Good. Nice, you guys. And then walk your hands back to frame the front foot. One more deep breath. Good. And then go ahead and slide that heel back and in, come back to the low lunge. Nice, lift your back knee up. Good. And then step forward to the top of your mat. Standing forward fold. And you're like, isn't it time for Shavasana? No, not yet. Good. Take your hands to your hips. Come all the way up to stand. Good. To become resilient with our joy. That's our Krishna practice, right? Hug your right knee up in towards your chest. And again, here, if you want that block to the outside of your left foot, you can bring it there. So right knee in towards your chest, come back to Garudasana, eagle pose. So wrapping the right thigh around the left. Again, pressing the shins together. Good. Bend your left knee a lot. Drop your seat. Good. And then this time, instead of wrapping the arms, take your hands together at your heart center. An opportunity for a prayer twist. Left elbow hooks to the outside of your right thigh. Good. And again, pressing your inner thighs wide, scooping into your low belly, press the hands together, open the chest. Don't get collapsed in your front of your shoulders. Open. Nice. Drop your seat. Yes. Nice, Carolyn. Good, Anne. And then unwind, come all the way back up. Nice, you guys. Step that foot down to the floor. Good. Deep breath in, arms to the sky. Exhale, drop the arms. Make a sound with your breath, whatever that sound is. There you go. Nice, Anne. Good. And then try the second side with a clear head, right? Left knee up in towards your chest, block to the outside of the right foot if you'd like. Good. Bring that left thigh over top of the right, wrapping the inner thighs, outer shins. Bend the right knee a lot. Remember, butt comes slightly back behind your heels and you're squeezing your shins, but you're pushing your thighs wide. And then hands to heart center. Start to twist. Right elbow moves towards the outside of the left knee. And again, if hooking the elbow is not an option here, use the hand. Left hand can come to your lower back. Nice, Elisa. Good, Allison. Keep pressing those inner thighs wide, you guys. This is what helps open up the glutes. It's what helps open up the outer thighs. Nice. You got it, Mark. Good. Slowly unwind, please. Planting the feet. Inhale the arms up to the sky. Ah. Exhale, hands down to the floor, forward fold. Separate your feet as wide as your mat, turn your toes out, come back to squat, bending the knees. It's like a whole different person doing squat now, right? Some of you are like, nope, same person doing squat. Like that when we as teachers try to implant a feeling for you, like this feels better now, right? And some of you are like, nope, does not. Totally okay. Connect to that loving feeling that whatever is here, that this is part of joy, not separate from. It's part of love, not separate from. So you look in that inner mirror that you see no fault in what you feel. You experience no fault in what your body is or is not able to do. And instead, what you see staring back at you is that feeling, that image, that face that says, I love you exactly as you are. There's nothing you need to do to earn that, and there is nothing you can do to change that. And if your mind is like, yeah, okay. Practice it every day. Release yourself down to the floor gracefully, hands first, then butt. Good. Stretch your legs out in front of you. Good. Give them a little shake if they need. Use a blanket underneath your seat if you need. Good. And then draw the right knee in towards your chest, please. Nice. Lift it up into what we call the baby cradle. So as you lift that shin up off of the floor, hold the outer edge of your foot with your left hand, knee in the right hand. So lift the shin up and then start to rock from side to side. Good. Opening up the pelvis. Nice, you guys. You can do little circles with that hip if you'd like. Again, make it your own. Point of this is not for you to obey the command of move your hip from side to side, but find space in your hip. Good. And then start to find where you can start to work that knee a little higher, bringing the right arm inside. So it's like you're trying to bring that knee all the way up over your right shoulder. Right hand finds the floor. Yep, right hand finds the floor. And like you're bringing that knee all the way up as high as it can go over your right shoulder. And right hand finds the floor, still holding the foot with your left. Good. Nice, you guys. So opportunity here, if you'd like to start to straighten that right leg, twisting, looking under the left armpit. So start to extend that right leg to straight any amount. And again, it might feel like there's not a whole lot of space to go. If that's the case, that's all right. Nice, Diane. I like that variation. Good. You got it. And then slowly release, coming back to center. Keep that knee up though, over the arm. Opportunity here. So you have that knee nice and high over the right upper arm. Right hand is on the floor. Squeeze that knee around your arm so it'll hold itself. And then bring your left hand outside your left leg. So both hands are planted to the floor. Right knee squeezing your right upper arm. You got it. And then some of you know exactly where I'm going. Scoop into your belly, press into your hands, lean forward, pull up through your pelvis. See if you can start to lift your butt up off the floor. With your knee up over your shoulder. I know. Nice, nice, nice. Good. That's just first step to any arm balance there. If you know where you're going, go for it. Nice. And then slowly release. Excellent, you guys. Nice, Caroline. Nice, Alana. Unwind yourself, please. Stretch the legs straight out in front of you. Good. Notice I didn't push for any specific arm balance there. Those of you who wanted to go there went. Those of you who had no idea where we were going stayed. Don't worry. Good. Inhale the arms up alongside your ears, please. Both legs are straight. Take a forward fold, Paschimottanasana. Give yourself a moment to forget whatever just happened. Don't forget, just love what just happened, whatever it was, or whatever it wasn't. Good. And then walk yourself back in. So part of the reason I didn't give a name is because for some reason my brain has completely Astavakrasana. I'm like, I can't remember the name of the pose I was going for. Astavakrasana, that's the one. So bring the left knee in towards your chest, please. Right leg stays extended. Lift the shin parallel to the floor. Baby cradle, so holding the foot with the right hand, knee with the left. Start to find movement in that hip. So maybe moving from side to side, maybe doing those circles. So Astavakrasana is the arm balance that I was aiming for. The twisting open is sundial pose, just so in your mind you're not confused about what I'm talking about. But it's great when you're trying to instruct something and you're like, and then do something. Just be in that pose that I can't remember the name of. Move your hip, move your hip, move your hip. And then start to work to where that hip can start to pull a little wider than your armpit. You can lift the knee a little higher. Start to wrap that left arm underneath the left knee. So you're really reaching under, getting that knee as high as it will go. And then the left hand comes down to the floor. You're still holding your foot with your right hand. Good. So maybe you have to move to have your hand holding your foot. There you go. Left hand to the floor, right hand holding your foot. Start to extend that left leg to straight any amount, looking underneath your right armpit. So you're actually looking away from your leg. You got it. The sundial. It's an awkward position, so don't worry if it's not happening today. Good. Nice. And then as you come out of that, don't just immediately fall out of it, but come back to where you can hook that left knee around your left upper arm. Keep that left hand planted where it is. You got to squeeze the knee so your leg is holding itself there. And then right hand comes to the floor outside your right hip. So both hands are on the floor and you've got that left knee hooked over the upper arm. Squeeze into your belly, lean onto your hands. See if you can just lift your butt up. That's the first step, is just leaning forward, seeing if you can get into your abdominals and lift your butt. And then if you can start to shoot those hips out to the side, squeeze your thighs around your upper arm, leaning forward almost like you're in crow. Excellent. Good, you guys. And then slowly release whatever you did or you didn't do. Love it. Unwind yourself, legs out in front of you. Inhale the arms up to the sky. Exhale, bow forward. Even if your mind just entertained the notion that that arm balance could happen one day. Good job. We want to be really resilient with our sense of joy, that there's nothing that happens that takes that away from us. But because our minds, most of us have decided that that already is not a part of our lives, we have to build back in first an awareness of what that feeling even is. What does it mean to have joy in the moment that you are existing in? Walk yourself all the way back up. Excellent, you guys. So find your way onto your backs, please. If you're in the room with me, you can turn your heads towards the center of the room. Bring a block with you if you have one. Yep. So on your backs, bend your knees, plant your feet, lift your hips up, and place the block underneath your sacrum for a supported bridge pose. And if you don't have a block, you can come into bridge without one. You just might want to give yourself some breaks. You're not holding the pose indefinitely. Somebody has stolen my light dimmer. Whoa, not what I wanted. Good. Well, find yourself in that supported bridge pose, any height that you'd like, but that allows you to really relax through your sacrum. Good. Careful that you don't let the knees splay wide. As we go through our life, many of us, we have more of the experience of we become resistant to, or we find painful things to be companionable. We get used to it. We get used to that so much that we forget that joy is part of that too. It's not separate from. It's like if you could go back to before any difficult thing happened, any painful thing happened, is how did you feel before? Before that pain took root, how did you feel? What did you experience? Because that experience is still in you. What you were before you became really used to feeling pain. And if we know that that's still in us, maybe we can step back into that experience that can still hold where there's been pain in your life. Don't negate any of that. That where you're no longer defined by those edges, those limitations. Who and what you are is always expanding beyond that. And Krishna says that it's not the outside that you have to try to change. He says, if you do that, he's like, you're going to have a lot of work to do and it's not going to get you anywhere. It's all understanding. All understanding the expression of your own heart as it meets the world and as the world is meeting you as a mirror. If your mind is looking for avoiding pain or trying to work its way around that is what you will see everywhere. The world will mirror it for you. If you cultivate that connection to that endless love or joy, whatever you want to call it, the world will mirror that for you too. What shocks us is that the same events might be going on. And Krishna says, and that's the game, that's the play, the Leela. That it was never about the events. It was about, are you able to know that when you can't find what you're looking for outside, do you know where to look for it? Last place we look, your own dang heart. That's where we have the capacity to feel beyond painful limitations, painful situations. Krishna, you can also say, is the rebellious type that when society or the world or the rules don't fit with his joy, is he just ignores them. He uses what's in front of him to shape the experience into the greatest prosperity. He says, you do the same. This is how you get through this life in a sense of joy and not in a feeling of survival. The weird thought that you are not here to just fit in, that you are here to help be that dynamic shaping of the world, day by day, breath by breath, thought by thought. Krishna says that's the true power you have as a yogi, is if you know that. And you might still follow all the rules. Things might not change on a lot of levels, but how you interpret your movement through the world is forever different. If you know that you've been loved from the beginning and will be loved no matter what. Take one more breath where you are. And as you press into your feet, lift the hips up off of the block. Move that block to the side. Slowly let the hips come back down to the floor. And just pause there with the knees bent and the feet flat. Good. Then hug the right knee in towards your chest, please. Squeeze it in. And before you straighten that left leg, roll your groins down towards the floor. So you squeeze that right knee in and then roll your tailbone down. Yeah. Good. And now maintain that as you start to stretch your left leg straight down to the floor in front of you. Excellent. Nice, you guys. Then hold behind your right thigh. Please extend the right heel up towards the ceiling. Press through the inner edge of the leg, underside of the ankle. Press your thigh back against your hands. Good. Then holding the outside of the thigh, let your left arm go wide. Let your right leg drop wide to the right. Again, only as far as it goes without your left hip popping up. So maybe that left hand comes to root your left hip bone down, left thigh down. Good. So it is not better to let your leg fall to the floor if it's making your pelvis twist. Nice, Judy. Good, Mark. Come all the way back up to center, please. Good. If you want to keep that leg straight, go ahead, just hand it over to your left hand. Come into the straight-legged twist, letting your hips rotate over to the left, extending that right leg straight out from the hip. Good. If coming into that twist feels like a better idea to bend the knee, go ahead and bend the knee. Kristen, good, Emily. Nice, Rachel. Good, Susan. Good. And then bend the knee back in towards the chest as you come out of the twist. Squeeze that knee in. And then plant the right foot down to the floor, please. Keep the knee bent. Squeeze the left knee in towards your chest. As you're squeezing your left knee in, try to rotate your groins down towards the floor. So get more of your sacrum rooted to the floor as you pull that left thigh in. Good. Get your tailbone down to the floor. Focus on that. It's more important than getting your knee to your chest. So get your pelvis rooted and then see what range of motion you have. Good. Nice. Now extend that right leg all the way straight down to the floor. Good. Hold behind the left thigh. Please extend your left heel up towards the ceiling. Hamstring stretch. Press your thigh against your hands. Underside of the heel reaches up. Nice, Valerie. Good, Diane. Nice. Beth, just watch your knee isn't locked. From how flexed your foot looks, it looks like your knee might be locked. Good. Nice, Gunter. Nice, Laura. Good. And then holding that left leg with your left hand, stretch the right arm out wide. Let your left leg drop wide to the left. Again, keeping your right hip rooted down, right side thigh rooted down. Flexing your left foot so you're still extending out through that leg. You're not just letting it drop with no awareness. Good. And then slowly bring it back up to center, please. And then you can just hand that leg into your right hand. Let your leg start to rotate over to the left, straight-legged twist. And again, if as you come into that twist, it feels like a better idea to bend the left knee, feel free to do that. Straight leg is really exciting for your outer hip and thigh. So if that's an area of interest to you. Good. Nice, Anju. Good, Kristen, Emily. Nice, Sarah. Nice, Allison. Good, you guys. And then bend the knee back in towards your chest as you come back to center. Hug that knee in towards your chest. Bring the right knee in with it. Squeeze. Then come into happy baby, drawing the knees wide, reaching for your ankles or the edges of your feet. Stack your heels on top of your knees. Good. Root your low back down to the floor, all the way down to your tail. Good. Excellent, you guys. And at the end of the next breath, bring the knees together all the way in towards your chest. Squeeze in. Good. Hug, hug, hug. Lift your forehead up towards your knees. And then slowly release, extending the legs out in front of you, arms alongside you, coming to rest for Shavasana. Whatever props you need, make sure you're warm. Fun, exciting time of the year where it was 50 degrees yesterday and 30 and snowing today. Lover and the beloved. Always connected, constantly connected by that deep thread of feeling. And it is said that as we practice this, it's not unusual that within that feeling of connection, there's also longing. There's also that little bit of ache. A desire to keep reaching out. It's in the longing that there is also that experience of real openness to all that love is. Your breathing allowed to arise from you as easily and naturally as your breath. Feeling of loving connection. And again, you can hold in your mind a being that inspires that in you. As I've said to people before, imagine it if you have to. What might it feel like if you can't pull up a specific thing? With every breath, you absorb into yourself that loving presence that is all around you. Very gently bring the awareness back to the breath. Let your body begin to stretch and move in any ways that serve it well. And as you're ready, draw your knees in towards your chest and roll to your right side. And take a moment there before you begin to push the floor away. Come back to an upright seated position. Bring the hands together in front of the heart center, palm to palm. Again, letting the thumbs touch the sternum. And that image of the Jiva Atma and the flame that exists at the heart. Where Krishna says, if you run here, if you run inside to the heart, you will always find everything that you need because that's where I'm hiding. It's where everything is hiding. If you keep looking outside, you're going to be so disappointed and so tired. So just look here. He says, and remember that the moment that you were born, right, for our birthday girl, the moment that you were born, the universe rejoiced. And every breath that you take, the universe is still rejoicing. Doesn't matter how old you are, how many breaths, how many days, how many stumbles, falls, mistakes. Is that energy is always rejoicing in your existence. Breathe that in. And from this place in the heart, there is nothing that can be taken from you. The joy of your existence cannot be diminished, taken from you from anything outside. It's Krishna's promise. He says, but you got to run back in. Remind yourself that it's here, not out there. We'll close the sound of Om. Deep breath in. Sliding the thumbs up to the space between the eyebrows. Namaste. Thank you guys so much. Have a great rest of your day, great rest of your week until I see you again. Enjoy Valentine's Day. Whether or not you have plans or anyone that you're doing anything with, do something radically self-loving for you. How about that? So enjoy the day.
Thanks,
Happy
Veronica.
birthday, girl.
Thank you, Veronica.
You're welcome.